Bevere spent his adult in an unfulfilling career. When he found himself on the bottom rung of the social and economic ladder, he began looking for purpose in life. Help me welcome Jack Bevere.
Wow, I can do that, is what I said when I first heard the words that you can't start a new beginning, but you can start today and begin a new ending. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, you too can start a new ending today. I started a few years ago when I was at the bottom rung of the ladder. And I'm here to tell you it isn't easy, because it encompasses all aspects of the human being. Your physical, your spiritual, and your mental being all have to come together. And they have to have a unifying element that holds everything together. But I did not hesitate when I read those words. I pushed my chair back from the table, stood up, did a couple of toe touches and a jumping jack, and I was on my way. I added a push-up and a sit-up a couple of weeks later. Finally, I made my way to a swimming pool. I thrashed around in the shallow end for a couple of weeks, and then one day I swam all the way to the other end of the pool. Now, 2 decades later, 30 pounds lighter, I can compete with the best swimmers in my age group. But I didn't feel any unifying purpose. My spiritual life is still sort of stalled. I was raised in the Midwest. I believed in individualism, the teachings of Jesus, good and evil, right and wrong. And over the years, I've read a couple of things by C.S. Lewis, the Christian apologist. And I've even tried a few times to get in the daily habit of reading the Bible. And so my spirituality is sort of stalled. But on my spiritual radar, I keep picking up something. And it may be God. It may be a unifying principle. I'm not sure. Defogging my mind was kind of interesting. I started out by scanning the newspaper, reading the editorials, listening to network news, talking to different people about the issues of the day. But all I heard was rancor, discontent. Everybody had an axe to grind, and all the groups were discriminated against. I canceled the newspaper, I turned off the TV, and I went to the library. And I started reading, just picking up books randomly here and there. And over a few months, I started gravitating toward history, particularly American history and the founding of our country. And one of the things I found kind of interesting was that in New England, the 1600s, they were shipping ice to India. This led me into reading about economics. And then it sort of drifted into political philosophy. And this felt good. But there still wasn't any, unifying satisfaction there. I ran across a book called The Road to Serfdom. He's a Nobel-winning economist from the Austrian School of Economics. And he wrote at one point that individualism, in contrast to socialism and all other forms of totalitarianism, is based on the respect of Christianity for the individual. That sort of started bringing things together. Oh, maybe all these things do sort of work together. I ran across another book called, now you ready for this? How to Speak, How to Listen. And that is the title of the book. I noticed in the blurb that the author was a scholar in grammar, rhetoric, and logic. Those were the skills that communicators learned before the printing press. In those days, people had to listen intently and speak persuasively. And I thought that might help me in my evaluations. And I think it did. I sort of went through it. I came to the last few pages, the appendix, and it was an appendix entitled Seminars for Young People, an Essential Ingredient for Basic Schooling. I zipped through it once. Something sort of clicked. I went through it again, and the article lays out everything you have to do to put on a successful seminar. Everything from the physical elements to the duties of the moderator, to the qualifications of people, to the things that you have to read. And I said, wow, I can hold seminars on the Constitution, on the Founding Fathers. I pushed my book back and said, I can do that.